Pardon?
I'm ready to roll.
Yep.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Board of Ed meeting.
Jim Barrett.
Here.
Jerry Harker.
Here.
Val Close. Here. Steve Link. Megan Michael. Here. Kathy Knight.
Here.
Tom Eklund.
Here. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any topics for consideration to add to the agenda this evening? No? Okay.
Second.
All in favor? We need to appoint a secretary pro tem for this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then we have consent approval for the minutes of September 28, 2021 Board of Education meeting, the September 28, 2021 Board of Education closed session meeting, and the October 12, 2021 Committee of the Whole meeting. Any issues with the meeting, minutes?
Motion to approve it, present.
Second. Jerry Harker.
Yes.
Val Close. Yes. Megan Michael. Yes. Kathy Knight.
Abstain.
Jim Barrett.
Yes.
Tom Eklund.
Yes. Next, we have agenda time for citizens to speak. Community members are welcome to address the board in person. Please follow our board policy when attending, and note that the board will listen to your comments, but will not reply. Any citizens?
My name is Nancy Thompson. I just had a couple just random things that the board might see. My first request is, it's very hard to hear when you guys are talking if you're not here in person, even in person. So I would like to request if there's a microphone available and when everyone's talking, you can hear what's being said. Especially when you're going over the financials. I was trying to really pay attention to the whole meeting, and I thought there was a couple times that it was mentioned the word surplus when there was financials being discussed. So I had sent in that question to the COVID back form to actually get information if we are in surplus with our operating budget this year. That question was not answered in the most recent update. I don't know if that was missed. I did resend that in, so I think that's a very important question that I would like to get an answer to if we are in a surplus with our financials this year. I think that's especially important given the fact that our district is receiving or is allotted to receive $1,933,000 in COVID relief funds. I know another question came in that there will be information that will be shared as well in detail as far as what those funds are being used for. I think that's important as a parent in the district to understand what that's being used for, because as of right now, we don't get a lot of information as far as what's happening behind the scenes, what you're doing as a board. I understand you, and this was answered in the FAQs too, that you are going to continue to follow the executive orders of the governor. It was also asked if those orders change and there are mandates or some type of mandate set in place for additional vaccine requirements for children 12 and under. I was asked if those orders were going to be followed as well. That answer was, at this time, you're unaware of the governor's plans are for future executive orders. So there's a little contradictory information. You're following orders now, you're continuing to follow orders, but are you going to fight orders based on straw that's gonna break the camel's back for you as a board, as far as when you're gonna stand up for the children in this district, and when you're going to stand up for the parents who have children in this district, who have rights, because those are not currently being considered. And I had a conversation with you, Megan. You said there was the information shared at the last meeting regarding what the administration's doing, what Dr. Johnson's doing on the back end, or, to continue to see what can be possible going forward with, fighting these mandates, getting local control back in the district. So there's a lot of information I've been requesting and asking. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know what's happening. All I know is the kids are continually masked. I just came from the 8th grade junior high basketball team. Those kids are barely able to breathe back and forth on the basketball court. Our kids need to be unmasked. We need to get our parental rights back. And you are voted into these positions by the district parents. You're not doing your job. You're not helping the district parents. You're not willing to talk to us. It's just putting these questions in and answering questions. So I don't think that's enough. It will continue not to be enough. And I will continue to fight for my rights. And I expect a little bit more from you as a board and as an administration.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board? Okay. We'll go to the bills.
Okay. In your board packet, there's a summary of our invoices that we're looking for approval to pay this month, as well as an explanation of bills that we wanted to highlight. The main thing I wanted to highlight tonight is our special education transportation. You'll note that there's there's invoices for American Funds, which is our Chain of Lakes transportation, in the total $42,690. That does include some of our special ed transportation from summer school. And it is for the transportation of 13 students only, but they are going to so many vast different areas that we don't really have a lot of options at this time. The biggest issue is that we are still looking to staff within the district, and so we're not able to transport those students on our own. We're continuing to try to hire and to train staff so that we can try to pull that back in. We did transport some of that in the past in-house, so we're trying to work back through that. Just so you guys know, there's another one from Ride on Transit, similar situation, that's for 8 students. So that's the biggest thing we're trying to tackle at this time to try to reduce those bills. Also included in the invoices is our final Peter Casella bill from our annual financial audit. That's for just the completion and finalization of that. That's just within what had been budgeted and agreed with them. And then just wanted to also mention Rabine Mechanical, that is not related to the HVAC project that we were working on. That's just additional repairs that were done in our creative campus. Any questions?
Questions?
Thank you.
Annie? Like to go to reports from advisory committees? Which we have,
We got
oh,
to
I forget that every time. Okay, do we want to pay the bills?
pay the bills.
Okay. Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Thank you,
Second.
Mr.
Val Close?
Yes.
Megan Michael?
Yes.
Kathy Knight?
Yes.
Jim Barrett?
Yes.
Jerry Harker?
Yes.
Ken Eklund?
As much as I keep trying not to, I do want to pay the bills.
Thank you.
Now we'll go to the advisory committees, and first we have the Ringwood PAC meeting.
Good evening, everyone. Ringwood held its first PAC meeting solo for pre-K to 2 parents last week, Tuesday, and we discussed communication resources for families that we've been utilizing and how we're intending to improve those. We also talked about, we invited our social workers in to introduce themselves and talk about school anxiety and resources that they're trying to provide families. And then we also had Bethany Norman in, who is our Title I staff member and also with MTSS. She presented as well regarding what that system and group looks like, what they do. We had a lot of great feedback. We had a good turnout. Everybody was able to contribute. And they did advocate for us to continue to do our next meeting as a building at Ringwood soon, so we can invite up Terry and talk about MTSS and Title I grants, and then also talk about PBIS and re-invite our social workers back out so they can address any more questions that they might have.
Thank you. High school's PAC. Kevin, you want to report on that?
Yeah, we were able to meet here in the auditorium, and we touched base on homecoming review, and we were incredibly thankful for our CARES group. We have 2 new CARES advisors this year. This first year, Judy Cougar has not even been, actively involved as a member or kind of in charge of it, so I thought they did a nice job, and the kids really helped run the show. Huge help from the PTO with a couple of events with fireworks, as well as our freshman tailgate that they helped sponsor, so we made sure we gave a shout out to that. We talked about the final schedule and what that's going to look like, is that we will be doing that this year for the first time in about a year and a half. We talked about conferences, and then we also talked about 2 scenarios. One, the JHS Honor Code that we've been using this year that was adapted from our work habits and special privilege that started back when I was teaching here in the 90s. And it's that whole process, and then we also talked about the early successes we're seeing with interventionists at the high school that has really started off with that, and we were able to get some nice data in regards to that, and just a couple of things that have happened that week as far as student group.
Thank you, Kevin. Bridget and the PTO.
We met a few weeks ago, and we had some decent attendance. There was some interest in having the meetings both online and in person, so that families who struggled with childcare, could attend, etc. They're still looking into that. They talked about the November trivia night, November 20th. They weren't sure at that time if they were going to be able to continue it. As of last Friday, they were still going forward, and they are also working on finalizing details to have a modified event with Santa in December. I'm just going to call it event. The details are still, they're still working on that, and I'm sure that'll come in the November meeting.
Lisa and I are working together on it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bridget. The Johnson Tech Campus.
Yeah, we had a really good tech campus meeting on the 14th. It was a presentation. First of all, we got a presentation from CLC, College Lake County, and Tech Campus, kind of a joint one. That CLC is opening a new tech center over there. They ended up purchasing a former Lowe's facility, an abandoned Lowe's facility, and they're going to convert that. Yeah, it's currently 141,000 square feet. It's going to go to 100. They're expanding it to 182,000 square feet. And what they're going to do is they're going to be adding or moving and adding industrial maintenance, welding, automation, robotics, CAD, and other things over there, and also going to, through some grant funding, be able to increase, not increase, but modernize their equipment. And so they're going to do it in phases, and the first phase is scheduled, they're very quick about it, they'll open in the fall of 2022, so next fall. And what it's going to do is it's going to provide our kids that go to the tech campus some opportunities for increased dual credit. It's going to start with CLC, and then they're going to expand it to tech campus students. So the size of the facility and how much they're dedicating to it and how much they're going to modernize it, it was really quite impressive. So that was one thing that they talked about. And then the other was an interesting component too. We had another presentation by the tech campus where they talked about auto repair, but that they had, and never even thought of it, which is surprising where we live, that they had some marine repair shops reach out to tech campus. They don't currently offer it, but now what they're going to do is they're going to start with a small marine repair class. And they're like, we never even thought of it, but where we're at, it's a huge market. And so they're going to start with a small one and then tap out into a bigger one. It's interesting because it appears that Mercury Marine Motors are going to end up supplying them with the engines, the parts, and new equipment to be able to work on this stuff. So it's going to start with probably one class, but they want to be able to expand it so that way in a few years that somebody will be able to get out of there with a marine engine repair certificate like they can with an auto. They're like, I don't know why we didn't think of it before because we live in such a boating haven, but I thought that was a really cool opportunity for the kids. So they're doing some stuff over there, that's for sure. So I just wanted to talk about how big and what's happening over there. We'll keep you posted as that stuff rolls out.
I have a lot of students that go there.
It's impressive, it really is.
Yep. And the skills they come out with, and how quickly they get employed when they leave high school,
Yep.
it's all really impressive.
We got internships that they're lining up with Mercury Motors, and they're not even started yet, but they're like, oh yeah, we'll make some interns on it, so. It's all right.
Thank you all for those updates. Some informational items. District update.
Yeah, just a couple of smaller things. First of all, hopefully you had the opportunity to check out some websites updates. Thanks to Coop and Stephanie Voss, they really have been working on that. And they've got some more tweaks to do on it. But they like the new interface, so it's kind of nice to be able to get that updated. It's been a few years since we've had that updated for sure. Next, we're into our third week tomorrow of shield testing. Just a quick update on that. It's gone well. It's gone fine. Had a little cake the first couple of weeks. Too many staff or few staff with them the first week, not enough staff last week. But I think we're going to hit the stride next week and change some few locations, but that's moving forward tomorrow for our third week. And really the last thing was, I know that we keep you informed of what our long-term plan has been to our town meetings and our presentations at that. I did want to let the board know that that is something that we are revising this year, and you will get a revised, updated, new long-term plan probably at the May town meeting. So we'll do a comprehensive presentation for you at that time. We've been spending some time taking a look at things, but needless to say, COVID in the past year and a half has really impacted all areas for us. And so we're going to take some time this fall and winter. We're going to update those long-term plans, maybe change the format a little bit, but I felt like it was important that we don't keep you in the loop, that you're going to see a modified, improved, revised long-term plan, probably at the May town meetings, is where I'm circling. So we'll keep you posted on that as we progress, or if anything changes, but you can kind of figure on that one. But we're excited to do that. We're take a deep breath and put together a nice long-term revisions for that. So
That's the one that details out all the maintenance,
Yep.
scheduling, all that.
Yep.
jazz too.
Yep, all that good stuff.
That's a good one.
Yep. But I just wanted you to be updated on that. So and that's it.
Thank you. Next, we have the tentative levy.
Sure. So we spoke at the October 12th committee of the whole meeting regarding our upcoming 2021 property tax levy. We will need to adopt the estimated levy at the November 16th board meeting because we don't have a committee of the whole meeting this next month. We wanted to make sure we got that on the schedule this month, and as we've discussed, I just want to bring it back to your attention again before we bring you the estimated levy. As we had discussed, we are estimating a 1.86% increase over our prior year cap funds, and that's based on a CPI of 1.4% and new growth or new property of $1.9 million. At this point, we were recommending a capped levy at 3.5% just to capture any other new growth. Obviously, that's well more than we would ever expect to get, but just want to make sure you guys are fine with that, moving forward with that amount, or if you wanted to lower it or change it, that's okay. Again, we're estimating it to come in at 1.86. We do not anticipate there will be anything much more than that. It's going to fall right about there. So it's up to you guys on what you want to see come at the second meeting, but at this point, we're recommending 3.5%.
It seemed like what the board was comfortable with last time.
That's what we did last year too.
Yeah,
So,
we did last year too.
yeah, just wanted to bring it to your attention again. If I don't have any comments, we can walk up with that.
Any thoughts anyone wants to share, or do you guys talk about this?
Just explain to everybody one
Sure.
more time that we capped it at 3.5, but we only get what's
We only get,
available.
yeah, so, historically, and I think for many districts, you can levy as much as you want, but you're only gonna get what you're gonna get. We started, because of the cap, correct. A few years ago, we decided, as a board, you decided that there's no need to levy that high. We know what we're going to get. We've gotten a lot more information from the assessor's office over the last several years, and a lot sooner, in relation to what the estimated new growth is, and we already knew CPI from our prior year. We gave that number the prior December. So ultimately, you guys decided a few years back that there's no need to levy more than 5% and no need to publish a notice in the paper because that costs money. And ultimately, really to rest about where the levy's gonna come in. So we always leave a little wiggle room because there is potential that there's gonna be changes in some of the values. But ultimately, it's not gonna be much of a change from that.
And it's on new growth.
That's correct.
Correct.
The only
It's not-
changes you would see is new growth.
Yes. In order to capture that,
Correct.
basically, property for those who may be listening online, I guess improvements on property within our school district itself.
Correct, yes. The only other slight modification that could happen is if there was changes to EAV, and that happens as a result of typically the EAV going down because of property tax injections. That would be the only other thing that you might see change.
Thank you.
Sure.
And we have some Freedom of Information Act requests.
Yes, and again, I included a memo because we're getting quite a few these days. We're up to 7 this past month. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to go over any of them with you.
I had nothing jump out to me. You guys, anything?
No.
Thank you for putting all that together. Okay, other business, we have the board head meeting November 16th, right here. So now we're looking to go into closed session regarding the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, and review of closed minutes.
Make a motion to close.
Second?
Megan Michael,
Yes.
Kathy Knight,
Yes.
Jim Barrett,
Yes.
Jerry Parker,
Yes.
Sal Post, Tom Eklund.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all for coming out.